All right, outside of the THV11 Weather Garden, while it may seem that gardening season should be over, fall actually
Don't
the perfect.
say that.
Okay, it's never over.
It's never over in Arkansas.
But fall could be the perfect time to plant. Lifestyle expert Chris H. Olson here with the details about fall planting, and it is a good idea, I guess, to start preparing for spring by planting now.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of us always hear the fall is the best time to plant. I don't know necessarily if it's the best time to plant, but it's a good time to plant. And there's several reasons for it. Number one, a lot of nurseries are starting to do clearance sales, so you can get cheaper plant material. So that's a good thing for some of us who are on a budget and want to do more in our yard, like you.
Or it's just cheap,
or
like
just
me.
very thrifty. I say thrifty, but
thrifty's a good
cheap,
way to
let's
say
be
it.
honest. Okay, it is what it is, and that's what you are. But you know, it's also good because you know here our ground usually doesn't freeze. And so in the fall time, our ground is still warm before it gets cool. So when you plant plants now like perennials and stuff, even though some perennials might not look their best this time of year when you buy them, it doesn't matter because they're going to go ahead and put all their energy in their root system, not their top growth. So as they go down in fall, they're going to root out, which makes them stronger and better for springtime. So instead of planting them in spring when they're just new, they're going to come up and be a bigger plant and look better for you and more established.
Is it okay to fertilize while you plant, or should you not fertilize?
Well, that's a good question. You know, right now you can fertilize because we still have two growing months left, but you want to fertilize a little bit lighter your plants and shrubs. But once we get to October, you want to stop because if you force them out with too much new growth, then when we hit the frost in November, they're just going to burn. So you could do a light fertilization right now if you would like. But don't forget, this is also the time that you can get great selection in bulbs and stuff. You don't want to wait too long to buy your bulbs because they're fresh and new right now. And you always want to look for top good size bulbs like here. That's a better grade, which means you're going to have a bigger flower. Now, I still think it's a little early to plant bulbs right now. I usually plant mine really beginning of October, but this is the time I buy them. And then I keep them in a dry, cool space, and then I'll go ahead and plant them outside.
If you can find a dry, cool space, maybe you have a crawl space at home. Could you put
them
on a piece of plastic underneath?
In the garage or a dark closet inside the house and that type of thing. And you can refrigerate them. Most of them are pre-chilled, so you don't have to refrigerate them. Make sure you read it and do not put your bulbs in the freezer.
Oh, see, I would have done that.
You would have done that.
Why are they frozen?
You would have done it, and then they will die.
Okay, so can you add, say you've already got bulbs planted from last year, can you add fertilizer or the bone meal or whatever it takes?
Sure. There's also specific fertilizers made for bulbs, but there's bone meal, blood meal, all those. You mix them two together, give it to your bulbs. It's a great fertilization. And this is also probably, though, a great time to plant your trees. Because most of your trees are about to go dormant, and they will put their root system out and be so much stronger when we get hot. Perfect time to plant trees, especially ball and burlap trees. They're just starting to dig them now. They'll be available in nurseries in about a month or so, and you want to start buying those and planting those now.
Well, I do want to address this because you said earlier to me, just off camera, that certain trees have been going through a hard time, blights or disease or fungus. We had a wet spring. It never really got hot and dry, and that has affected trees like dogwoods.
If we have a real wet spring, we'll get fungus problems on lawns and things like that. And you've had a blight problem on your dogwood. And you know you have a blight problem when your tree is basically healthy looking green and suddenly a section or a big branch turns brown and the leaves turn dark brown and they hold the leaves. That's usually a blight. And blight, there's lots of sprays for fire blight and stuff out there. You just have to read the signs. You always want to cut that dead out, sterilize your pruners and bleach and water, and then spray it with blight, and your tree should come back.